Om Shri Ganeshaya Namo Nama. Greetings to everyone world over, all our brothers and sisters across the globe. It's a green morning, it's a green afternoon, it's a green evening. When we talk about sustainable development goals, we always talk about green, 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 sustainable development all around. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're taking care of yourself, your family, your neighbors, your community, your society, your civilization, your continent, and of course, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. That means the whole world is one family, and that is the agenda we are working on. International Chamber for Service Industry extends you a very warm welcome during this pandemic. Today is 1425th webinar, and more than 12,000 speakers, motivators, inspirational speakers, corporate counselors, technocrats from the world over, they have joined us. We are proud of our brothers and sisters across the globe, wherever you are. Ladies and gentlemen, coming from the uniform, coming from the armed forces background, you always wish that you retire from the same uniform and you should have only one career in your life. But the destiny has got something else in storage. I had to meet this icon of tourism. I had to meet this legend of tourism. I had to meet this fatherly figure of tourism. I had to meet this person who is walking tourism, thinking tourism, dreaming tourism, and he is sleeping tourism, he's getting up tourism, and he's all the times thinking what should be done as far as tourism is concerned. When we look back, there was a beautiful movie of Raj Kapoor ji, Kal, Aaj aur Kal. The people who understood that movie, it was a fantastic movie. It was an outcome, great contribution of Raj Kapoor ji to entire humanity. And today also, we are going to walk the steps, move with, walk the talk, and we are going to have something wonderful with very honorable, a very distinguished guest who is, when you think about Indian tourism, you think about Dr. Subhash Goyal ji. He's a legend of Indian tourism. He's a chairman of the STIC travel group. And on the eve of the Indian budget 2022, tomorrow morning, we do not know what is in the storage because all the people from the Ministry of Finance, they stay indoor at least for a week or 10 days. They don't even go home. And there's a halwa being distributed by the Honorable Finance Minister. What do we have in the storage? We'll come to know tomorrow. But today, Kal, Aaj और कल, तीनों को लेकर चलते हैं tourism में, present, past and future. Let me share a couple of slides with my brothers and sisters across the globe. There are 31.46 million Indians overseas abroad. And if I take the PIOs also, there are about 32 million. When pandemic came on 25th of March 2020, and the doctors, nurses, paramedical people, they all got into a new avatar, saving every person, every life on this planet. That time we learned from UNESCO that 1.65 billion children are away from schools, colleges, universities, institutions, polytechnics, ITIs, skill centers. And the vision came to our chamber. Why not we should do the hand-holding of educators, parents, and youth. Together, the golden triangle, like Delhi, Agra, Jaipur of tourism. Here you have got educators, you have got youth, that means students, and of course you have got parents. So the golden triangle being drawn, we took three buzzwords: making education relevant. How to keep education relevant? Let's move on the journey. Our chamber deals with the services sector. And we are proud of Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Skill Development. But of course, today we are talking about tourism, especially. So we are thankful, gratitudes to Ministry of Tourism and all other people, those are stakeholders in this ecosystem. 1994, for the first time, 93 September, I left the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. And 94, in the beginning, when all the NRIs, they got together on 13th of January at the Lodi festival, Guru Gobind Singh Stadium, Jalandhar, and the thought came, let's do something for education ecosystem. India's first finishing school for the service industry, which was brought in 1994, where personality and communication skills, two things were taken. Of course, with research, creativity, innovation, collaboration, capacity building and all. And we are proud to share with all of you that more than 52,000 youth and 35,000 educators across the globe, they have moved since 1994, passing through the Chamber of Finishing School, education, empowerment, and entrepreneurship. During this pandemic, we are focused on teachers and youth. You can see our road. It's a beautiful country road. Take me home. That is something. The only difference what the corona has made, because every challenge brings new opportunities, new avenues, and there's all a repackaging, rethinking, redesigning. Over here, the finishing school, which was brick and mortar on ground, it has gone totally digital, and now we call it e-Gurukul for service industry. The entire global wisdom throughout the world from all the continents, everybody coming together. I'm grateful. My deep thanks to all the speakers, those have come. More than 12,000 speakers. They have been the part of this journey during this pandemic, including UNESCO and all other stakeholders. This is the homepage, what we have got for the services sector. And we are focusing on youth and we are focusing on services exports. Of course, education and skills. We got to take care of your wellness and health also. But why it can't be entertaining? Why it can't be enjoyable? Why there can't be a humor? So there is a great learning. And I personally feel I'm a most privileged, disciple of the Almighty, that every day I'm learning from Australia, New Zealand, ASEAN, Central Asia, Middle East, Mauritius, Africa. And in the evening when we come to India and South Asia and Canada, Europe, and all the way in United States and Latin America, it's a great learning, humble learning, because when you share the information, the guest speakers, those come, the esteemed guests, those come, they share their wisdom, and that's a free knowledge which you get. In e-Gurukul, music, dance, games, happiness, humor, fun, creativity, curiosity, storytelling, stimulation, passion, talent display, stress-free, technology-based, vocational and skill-based, outdoor, with nature, with Prakriti. That should be the future. Why our living should not be whatever we are learning, it should be a part of our day-to-day life from the time we get up and when we go to sleep. Today, of course, we'll get the flavor, we'll get the fragrance, we'll get the main dish of tourism. Education, skills, and MSME, they are inseparable, they are together. This program is going live world over. All our brothers and sisters, those who have joined us, we are grateful to you, our deep gratitudes and thanks to you. It's going live on the YouTube channel, GS Motivator. You can see this program coming alive. Napoleon Hill way back. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together. Let's work together. It's no more competition. It's a collaboration. If we do not learn with the 2 years struggle, challenges, difficulties, and somersaults, what all it has given. Join me in extending a very warm welcome this morning, all the way from Canada, United States and Latin America, this afternoon post-lunch from European Union and UK, and of course this evening, little late evening, 1.5 hours ahead of India, right from Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, and people, those are joining from Middle East. I'm grateful to them, those join us from Doha, Qatar, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Dubai, and Oman. I'm grateful to all of them. And from Bahrain, Geeta Chopra ma'am, I'm grateful to you. You have been the part of this journey. And if you recall, it's the same Dr. Subhash Goyal ji who gave lots of love and affection, and lots of warmth to all of us in April 1995. And you were the part of this journey. Now with your husband and your son, you're watching this program all the way from Bahrain. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to our friends from Port Louis, from Seychelles and African continent. Dr. Mishraji, I'm grateful to you for joining us from Nairobi, all the way coming from Kenya. And Omarji, I'm grateful to you for joining from Senegal, and all of the dignitaries, those are joining us. And of course, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Nepal, and besides that, beautiful Bharat. Let's extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Subhash Goyal ji. He is PhD, he is holding his MBA, and he's a BCom. And when you talk about Hora Gold medalist from Shriram College of Commerce, member National Tourism Advisory Council, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. He's the founder and the chairman of the STIC Travel and Air Charter Group, one of the India's biggest B2B travel group with branches in all the major cities of India, representing some of the world's best brands like, I still recall, Richard, India's, that is United Airlines being brought to India, Ethiopian Airlines, Air China, Sri Lanka Airlines, Ukraine International Airlines, Myanmar Airways International, Royal Brunei Airlines, and Croatia Airlines, Cambodia Airways, Royal Jordanian, Nordwind Airlines, Holland American Cruise Line, Aerosa, European River Cruise, Pacific High, Windstar, and Alamo Rent-A-Car. Dr. Subhash Goyal ji is the outgoing Honorary Secretary of FAITH, which is a Federation of Association of Indian Tourism and Hospitality. It's a complete confluence of 10 national associations. He had been the chairman of the India Tourism March way back 2019, 20, 21. Former chairman of the Tourism and Services Sector of Federation of Indian Export Organization, that is under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. And he had been also the president of the Confederation of Tourism Professionals and the past president of Indian Association of Tour Operators. Ladies and gentlemen, when I think about IOTO, I think a long journey, long association, what all revolutions he has brought over there, the changes he has brought over there. Dr. Goyal is the chairman of the Civil Aviation and Tourism Committee of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He has also been the chairman to the Tourism and Hospitality Council of the SOCHM. Wonderful vertical like CII, FICCI, SOCHM, PhD House, Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Goyal have been actively lobbying for opening the skies and for e-visa. He gets a credit for e-visa. We will talk in detail during his talk. It's because of his lobbying efforts through the associations, he has been representing the e-visa, which was finally introduced in India, and he had the honor to announce it along with the Honorable Home Minister and Tourism Minister of India. What a proud privilege. He has also been on the advisory board of several government bodies and contributes frequently to the national dailies like Hindustan Times, Economic Times, Times of India, and various travel trade magazines on tourism and aviation subject. Mr. Goyal is a well-known TV personality. Frequently, you can see him because he keeps appearing very, very often on the ABP News, Z News, Aaj Tak, CNBC, CNN, IBN, NDTV, DD News for interviews, deliberations, discussions, various talks. Dr. Goyal is an author of a book entitled Poverty, Eradication, and Economic Development Through Tourism. I repeat, because it's very important. Poverty, eradication, economic development through tourism, which has won him wide recognition and acclaim world over. Ladies and gentlemen, from our chamber this evening, we extend a very warm welcome. Certificate of Excellence, Dr. Subhash Goyal, the legend of the Indian tourism. We also give him Lifetime Achievement Award. He deserves much more than this, but it's just a humble contribution, humble effort from our side, from our chamber. We would like to confer on him the Lifetime Achievement Award. Thanks for joining us today on the eve of the budget 2022. Dekho Apna Desh, of course, through the lens, through the eyes, through the heart, through the head, through the hands, through the vision, through the spirit of none else than the living legend of Indian tourism. Join me in extending a very warm welcome, Dr. Subhash Goyal ji. Pleasure to have you with us. Indeed, it's a great, great pleasure. And we are so fortunate that on the eve of the budget that's going to be announced tomorrow, 2022, we wish to have your vision. We wish to have your journey. The world is yours. The globe is yours. The continents are yours. I wish to learn in a very humble way something from you as far as tourism is concerned. Let's start your journey, how you got involved into tourism, how you got into tourism, where from the journey started. With these words, a very warm and a very hearty welcome to Dr. Subhash Goyal ji. You got to unmute your mic, sir. You got to unmute your mic, sir.
Dr. Gulshan Sharma, I do not have words to express my deep sense of gratitude and sincere thanks. I am overwhelmed by the honor that you and the International Chamber for the Service Industry has conferred on me. I am really humbled. Friends, I have known Dr. Gulshan Sharma when I first became the president of the Indian Association of Tour Operators way back in 1994-95. And he was there. He helped me out in organizing the first convention under my leadership when the Prime Minister of India, the then Prime Minister of India, Narasimha Rao, was our chief guest. Well, when I first took over Dr. Gulshan Sharma of ITO, the members were 300, and when I left, the membership was 1,500. And at that time, we didn't have enough funds, but by the time I'd left in my last incarnation, we had already purchased 2 offices for ITO and, had also a few crore rupees in the kitty. I joined the tourism industry. I was the youngest president of Delhi University Students' Union, and I was invited to Japan for an international conference. So I didn't want to take money from the university. We were anti-establishment. So I was told if I collect 15 people, the 16th ticket will be free. So this is how way back in 1970, I took a first group of students to Japan, and then I continued there onwards. And then in 1973, I asked the then Civil Aviation and Tourism Minister, Dr. Karan Singh, to inaugurate my office, which he did. And after that, there was no looking back. And today we are India's largest B2B travel company, representing 11 international airlines, 4 cruise companies, and 3 renter car companies. We have recently diversified into domestic tourism, and our GSA for the luxury trains in India, the IRCTC, and the luxury Indian river cruises. Well, I don't want to, in 1995, I still remember the Taj Mahal backdrop which you had created. And that is a part of my history and my life. So thank you very much, Dr. Gulshan Sharma.
You gave the first opening to Roshan Abbas, who's a great soul today. That was the first show being done by Roshan Abbas as an anchor.
So, then in every convention, we have been asking for the government to do something. In 1996, we had a convention in Lucknow, and where we asked the government to have uniformity of taxes and have an open sky policy for civil aviation. Then way back in 97, at the 7th ITO convention, we asked for the creation of a tourism development fund, which if that time had been created, we would not have had to suffer for, dole out or bailout things during now. In the airports, there was a very bad situation where, people used to hijack passengers. So we had requested for, prepaid taxis to be incorporated. Not only that, in 1998, we requested the government to focus on rural tourism, and we demanded an export status for the tourism industry. Will today, even in this budget, we are expecting the same from the government, because what we don't understand is that the IT industry, they do software development for companies which are based in UK, USA, Europe, or other parts of the world, and they are given the export benefits of foreign exchange. Whereas we also serve the tour operators who are abroad, and we serve foreign tourists and we earn foreign exchange. But we are not given that benefit, and it's totally discrimination. And we have been fighting for it for 1998. Until today, nothing seems to have been done. We hope that in this budget, we will have some relief. We also were the first to ask the government to start Buddhist tourism. We asked for adventure tourism. We started the homestay programs. We wanted a free movement of tourist coaches and buses, so that every, chungi we had to stop, and, again, corruption and a lot of other policies. We asked for a comprehensive international airlines policy, because earlier only those countries were able to fly to India where Air India didn't fly. So we requested the government that India is more important than Air India. And if Air India is not flying to certain countries, then we should, without giving royalty. Earlier, if you're coming from a country where, so anyway, I think those things have been achieved. We have not been given the export status as yet. We are still fighting for it. And we requested the government to keep the Taj Mahal open in moonlights for better coordination, center and states. We had a uniform. I think apart from making people realize that tourism is an instrument for job creation and poverty eradication, my biggest achievement at ITO president was to get the e-visa announced. For 20 years, we were trying to get e-visa or visa on arrival, because if you don't open up the country, how will the tourist come? And it was so difficult to get an Indian visa. There was so much corruption. And so finally, I remember Arun Jaitley, my friend, he was the finance minister, and he had invited me to his house, and he said, what can I do for my first budget? I said, announce e-visa. He says, that's the Home Ministry's job. I said, but you have to give the budget. So finally, I think it was announced, and I was fortunate that the Home Minister and the Tourism Minister really gave me the honor of announcing it. So these are some of my achievements as ITO president. Now, I have had the opportunity also of addressing various international conferences as India's representative. I was invited to address the PATA Regional Conference in Malacca, Malaysia, where I talked about using mythology as a marketing tool and how Lord Ganesh is an MBA program. I'm writing a separate book on Indian mythology, the science behind Indian mythology, and I think that will be interesting reading. I was also honored to address the International Roots Congress in Chicago, the Roots Conference in Mauritius, where I was sharing the stage with the 3 tourism ministers, and the World Youth Conference in Vancouver, Canada, World Youth Conference in Manila, in Cancun, Mexico, Italy, and many other countries. Even during COVID times, I was invited to address virtually the BRICS conference in St. Petersburg in 2020 and again in 2021. But Dr. Gulshan Sharma, My most satisfying experience was when I addressed the Commonwealth directors meeting in London. I was addressed, the country directors had a meeting at Marlborough House in UK, where I was invited and address Commonwealth directors from 53 countries were present. Even though my presentation was only for about 1.5 hours, starting from 9:30, but the interaction carried on till 4:30 p.m. with only half an hour break for a working lunch. By the end of the day, I could convince the Commonwealth directors of the world the importance of tourism and poverty eradication. And I think I really felt very satisfied. And tourism today is no longer considered an elitist activity. Today, I think everyone knows the multiplier effect it has on job creation, on GDP of the country, on taxes and other things. Well, slowly, people ask me that why did I start Faith? Being in the industry, I realized that we were divided. Tour operators had separate associations, domestic operators had separate associations, adventure operators had separate associations, hotel industry had two different associations, MICE associations, transporters had their separate associations. So it was important to bring all of them under one roof. We had been trying for many years. Finally, with our industry leaders like Pranab Sarkar, who was the president then, Subhash Verma, Sarabjit Singh, Nakul Anand, SM Sherwani, Rakesh Mathur, Raji Rai, Rajiv Kohli, Rajesh Lamba, Ajay Prakash, PRS Oberoi, Vivek Nair, Vinay Nal, and a lot of other members, we started an organization known as Faith, which is the Federation of Association of Tourism and Hospitality in 2012. At that time, I was the ITO president, even though in principle ITO had agreed to join Faith, but the executive committee had not ratified. So I could not become the chairman. I proposed the name of Mr. Nakul Anand as chairman, who was unanimously supported by everyone. And ITO became a member later on. I was nominated to represent ITO in the Faith board, where I remained on the board when the term of Sherwani and Mr. Subhash Verma was over. I was unanimously elected as Honorary Secretary of Faith. As my achievements for Faith, to enable small and medium tour operators who were not able to afford to participate in international events like FITOUR in Spain, ITB in Berlin, or WTM in London, we decided to organize a buyer-seller meet that all India tour operators, hoteliers, state governments could promote. We hosted the first ITM free of cost for delegates who came from 69 countries, and all the accommodation, their air tickets, sightseeing, everything was hosted by us jointly with FHRI, with IATO, and the Ministry of Tourism. In the second ITM, we had people from 74 countries and were hosted all free of cost. Ministry of Tourism provided air tickets, international delegates, sponsors, the state governments, and leading hotels had given free discounted rooms. ITO Adventure and Domestic Tourism also provided pre and post course. So Faith has played a very important role during this lockdown. You see, we highlighted the plight of the Indian tourism industry right from the Prime Minister to all members of Parliament, and highlighted the need to help the tourism industry, both in print and electronic media. Although I'm sorry to say that we could not get any bailout package, but we did get some concessions and some loans under SMEs, although they were just like, a lollipop, but something was better than nothing. The ITO convention, takes place every year. This year, it took place after 2 years. In 2019, friends, this is important. About 11 million tourists visited India, and most of them were managed by recognized tour operators of the ministry, mainly ITO members. And we earned $30 billion in foreign exchange. So domestic tourism, although the government says, yes, we have had domestic tourism, but domestic tourism can never substitute the importance of inbound international tourism. but it is rightly said that something is better than nothing. So domestic tourism has given us some oxygen in the pandemic. However, for inbound tourism to survive and thrive, we need international tourists, and they will not visit India on very expensive fares. So we need to start schedule international flights as soon as possible. We have an air services agreement with 105 countries, but the air bubble agreement is only about with 60 countries. So there is a suffocation, and airlines are charging through the nose, and people have no choice if they have to go to see dying relatives or go for university admissions. They just cannot do. Uh, well, friends, if in 2019 we could earn, $30 million if we open the skies, we open international flights, and announce the e-visas again, I'm sure, and we do an aggressive campaign, uh, and now with the privatization of Air India and Air India going back to Tatas, which are the most professional organization in the country, I have no doubt that India can become a hub for tourism activities, and the dream of our Prime Minister of making India a $5 trillion economy can be achieved only through tourism. That is why I really feel that, in this budget, the government should make tourism an instrument for economic change. They should make tourism industry as an export, as a services export industry, so that, we are able to contribute to the another thing which I want the government to do is the MDA, which is the Marketing Development Assistant, should be doubled, and reimbursement of expenses of tour operators should be made within 15 days after submitting the report. This should be done online, and the process be made more transparent. The government, along with the tourism industry and the Ministry of Commerce, jointly get maximum number of international conferences, and in India is being done in countries like Singapore, Germany, and China. Well, friends, you have to, through your organizations, keep lobbying for, I've been lobbying for more than 20 years of making tourism an export industry, because it is actually an export industry. I had even suggested in my book, Poverty Eradication and Economic Development, about 20 years back, that all the Indian embassies should be used, particularly the reception area, to promote India tourism. I have suggested that tourist offices should be staffed by young local sales and marketing professionals of Indian origin living in those countries. Such recruits will be more cost effective. They should be given targets and should regularly be monitored. The Indian embassy should support the local tourist office, work in coordination with them, along with Indian carriers and representatives of India in their countries. The biggest snag with Indian missions is the security, which is not accessible to the common man, whereas every small downtown tourist office is accessible. What we should do is try to understand and improve existing tourist offices by making them target-driven and accountable. Members can promote their products with each other. Members can participate in discounted rates, in buyer-seller meets, and industry. Members can take advantage of various skill development programs, which are organized, Dr. Gulshan Kumar, by your e-Gurukul, by ITO, by a lot of other people, and these are very, very important. Members can participate in various meetings. Members should write articles and remain active, during this lockdown period. You must try to learn new skills. After serving ITO president for more than 14 years, I continued in my capacity as immediate past president. During 23 years, I left no stone unturned in fighting for the cause of Indian tourism. When I took over, tourism was considered an elitist activity, which led me to write my book. And today, by writing various letters and sending thousands of copies of my books to all the members of parliament and the various committees, I'm happy that, we have been able to make a difference. So now coming to what are our expectations in the budget. As I had mentioned earlier, we accept the tourism industry to be treated as par with the export of services. For example, the recipients of IT services are exempted from tax based in foreign exchange earnings, whereas recipients of tourism services are foreigners and their services are provided to foreign tour operators who are based abroad. We want tourism services to be treated as export services. Second most important thing is that we are charged a tax on the package. If the package is $100, then we have to pay 5% on the entire package. Whereas our margin on that $100 is only $10. So that 5% should be on that, whatever our, profit is. So otherwise we have a cascading effect on the tourist packages. Tourism industry has to pay 18 to 20% tourism tax, and we are charged over and above on that a 5% tax on the entire package. Where should be it should be only on the profit of the tour operators, not the entire package. Another thing which we've been asking for a very long time, tourism is a state subject, but we want it to be put on the concurrent list, because if it is put on the concurrent list, then central government and state governments, whoever has to take action can take action. Then you see a new tax was introduced just before the COVID-19, which is TCS, which is on outbound tour packages. If packages are purchased in India, if the same package is purchased directly by a foreign tour operator, the tax is not there, and the pack saves the money, thus making the Indian tour operator lose business and making India lose valuable foreign exchange and making the jobs from India to shift to various other places. Another thing which we are all, we've been traveling quite a lot. When you go to UK, you go to Singapore, or you go to any other country, you cannot export taxes. So there is a VAT refund. And we have asked in this budget that IGST refund to foreign tourists at the airports, just like it's done in UK and many other countries. Then I've already talked about MDA earlier, and we have again asked for in this to be released within 15 or maximum 30 days. In order to revive the tourism industry, you see, we have also requested SEIS. You see, there is a, services incentive scheme. This was introduced to allow tour operators to do their packages and do the marketing abroad. And whatever foreign exchange earning was there, we were supposed to get a reimbursed or an import license for about 7%, which could be sold in the market, or we could utilize it for importing our vehicles or computers or other equipment. Now this SEIS is being discontinued, and we had asked the government Ministry of Commerce to increase it from 7% to 10%. But instead of increasing it, I think they are planning to discontinue it. So through ITO, through faith, we are, trying our best to, do all these things. And we have sent a detailed memorandum. I don't want to go into the clauses and the technical details. But, whether it is tourism or it is services export, we are not being given the same benefits as are given to physical exporters. Even though, as I mentioned, tourism about $30 billion, and in the services in 21-22, we had earned $250 billion. And we hope that services export by 2030 will touch $1 trillion. Now, we are not getting IGST refunds. We are not getting any of the benefits that the physical exporters are getting. So, Dr. Gulshan Sharma, you are also in the service chamber, and the service industry is very, very important, because if China is the factory of the world, we are the back office of the world. So we need to, focus on tourism and services. Thank you. And if there's any questions, I'm always ready.
Thank you very much, Dr. Goyal Saab. Thank you very much. There is a lot in the storage. There is so much to learn from you. When will I get this kind of an opportunity again to learn? Let me learn and pick up as much as possible. That's what I'm looking forward to.
We have a mutual admiration society. I admire you, how
Thank you,
you
sir.
set up the great institute where I had come and given a lecture in Chandigarh. And now, what a fantastic idea of e-Gurukul. I think you're great. You should be recommended for the Padam Shri or something.
Thank you, sir. You have talked to me. That is my Padma Shri. I don't need anything. There are few very important things I wish to share with you. What is your idea on cinematic tourism? Because at this point of time, Bollywood is also suffering. Why Bollywood, Tollywood, they go to Malaysia, they go to Thailand, they go to UK, they go to Switzerland. Yash Chopra ji had been going all the way over there.
I got your point.
Yeah.
You see, as ITO president and also as Faith, we have written many times to the government. And I think the government, basically, that is why I wanted this to be in the concurrent list. Because when we talk to the center, they say, no, this is a state subject. Now, states also, a healthy competition has started with the states. And states have started giving benefits like Uttarakhand has started doing, Goa has started doing, Rajasthan has started doing. So, why were people going to Switzerland? You see, because Swiss Tourism Board was subsidizing the hotels, they were giving a lot of concessions, and they were providing a window clearance for all the things. Similarly, Singapore, Malaysia, a lot of other countries, even the British Tourist Authority. So wherever, Indian outbound industry is around, 25 million. And the people who travel by air within India is around more than 200 million. So they are all potential international travelers. So every country is trying to woo India. So it is important for the states, because India Bollywood is right now the world's biggest as far as number of film produced is concerned. So we need to, focus that instead of going abroad, these filmmakers, and India is the greatest show on planet Earth. After
Sir,
visiting,
my request to you is, it is written on the wall right in front. During this pandemic, we cannot print brochures, literatures, other things. That's a traditional way of marketing. Why can't we bring Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, closer to the Bollywood, and all of them sitting together? I still recall Dr. Lalit Pawar, when he was the Secretary Tourism, Government of India, he was very fond of music. I think there got to be a pulse. There got to be a love, inclination for music, for dance, for art, for craft, for culture. The new education policy 2020 is moved from STEM to STEAM. Art has been incorporated. Why can't we see Spanish tourism? They made one movie, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. They invited all Bollywood people. 13% tourist traffic has increased to Spain. And now they are going to fund the movie called Sequel. 3 girls are going this time now. Krish movie being shot in Singapore. Singapore Tourism Promotion Board supported. So do you feel there is enough potential for cinematic tourism to be tapped in India?
Unbelievable. Even sky is not the limit. And I tell you, I don't mind doing it or pursuing it under your chamber, International Chamber of the Service Industry, that we can, have a certain program with all the film stars. And I'll try to speak to the Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, and it's a good idea. We'll take it forward.
Wonderful.
So having said that, I think India is the greatest show on planet Earth. After visiting 140 odd countries, I am convinced that there is no other country in the world which is as beautiful as India. We have the world's 74% of the Himalayan mountain ranges, which are the most beautiful. We have the only living desert in the world, Rajasthan. All other deserts are dead deserts. We have, 7,000 kilometers of coastline with one of the world's best beaches. We have, the mangrove forests. We have uh, innumerable, World Heritage monuments. We have rivers. We have places, wonders of the world. People who wrote about the seven wonders had not visited Ajanta Ellora. They had not visited, the Jain temples. They had not visited Hampi. You know, they, I mean, today India is full of wonders. And not only that, we are the birthplace of four great religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism. Saudi Arabia, after oil, earns most of its money from Hajj, right? So we are the Vatican for the Sikhs, we are the Vatican for the Hindus, the Char Dham Yatras, all that. So if government of India had been subsidizing the Hajj Yatra, why can't we subsidize, the Char Dham Yatra for Hindus and NRIs and PIOs? We have more than 30 million people of Indian origin who are in all the countries, in many countries like Mauritius or Trinidad or, Fiji. We have Indian people who are in majority and they are ruling. So that is one thing, that we can think of. And apart from that, you see, today we have broken the world record thanks to our Prime Minister Modi ji, that we have 1.5 billion people have been vaccinated. It is not a joke. And today we are providing and exporting vaccines and pharmaceuticals all over the world. We are the pharmacy of the world. And the cost of our medicines is 1/10 or 1/5. And for medical tourism, for yoga, for spiritual tourism, I think we can finance all our 5-year plans. We can wipe out the deficit in foreign exchange through tourism. But we need to recognize it as an export industry. We need to recognize it as an employment generator. We need to recognize it as an industry that will promote art, culture, music. We need to recognize it as an industry that will promote our history, the true Indian history, not the history written by British historians and,
changing the narrative, changing the narrative.
changing
Yeah,
the narrative.
yeah.
And, the real freedom fighters, the Sikh gurus, the, Bhagat Singh, the Subhash Chandra Bose, all these people who are the real freedom fighters of India, they need to be given the pride of place. And so our youth need to be proud of their culture. And it was Lord Macaulay who destroyed Gurukuls, you see, because to impose Indian culture. And he had mentioned in his, one of in the archives is written that he says you cannot destroy India until you don't destroy its culture. And
Education ecosystem.
That is why I admire you. Genuinely, I'm not saying it because you are there in front of me, that this idea of e-Gurukul for the service industry is a fantastic idea.
Thank you, sir.
You should also do an e-Gurukul for all the industries, while limited to the service industry. And this could become really a world education center. So I'm really proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. What message would you like to give to NRIs? Because our chamber is deeply associated world over 131 countries with our brothers and sisters across. And 1.9K people are watching this program live at present world over. What message would you like to give to our brothers and sisters?
Well, my first and most important message is that I would like to greet you. This is the last day of our month of independence, of Republic Day, and the month where we have recognized for the first time Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, the 60,000 people who were all NRIs and who formed the Indian National Army, out of which 38,000 people died. So, secondly, you see, whatever China is today, it is because of their NRI or their expats who are there all over the world. And the Chinese, they always visit China. Now, I think tomorrow is starting of the Chinese New Year. So if flights permitting, you will see all the Chinese going back. So we would like all the NRIs, you see, you must come back. And as STIC travels, because we had to focus on domestic tourism, you will be glad to know that we have organized, the Sikh pilgrimage tours for all the Takhats, right? And we are giving it in a very professional, with 5-star hotel accommodation and also with 3-star accommodation. We have organized helicopter tours. We have, a helicopter service, and we have organized helicopter tours for Char Dham Yatra, for visiting your places. The Indian Railways have organized an air-conditioned Buddhist pilgrimage tour, and we have recently launched through Indian Railways a Ramayana Tour, which will cover all the places in the footsteps of Lord Ramayana, right? So you must tell your children to go back to their roots, to see what rich culture they have inherited. When people in Europe were living in trees, we were building the world's best cities. We are the first place in the world for democracy. We are the first place. We discovered zero. We discovered astronomy. We discovered Sanskrit is the mother of languages for all the software programs. Today, 40% of the people of Indian origin are there in the Silicon Valley, whether it is Apple, whether it is Macintosh, whether it is Google, whether it is Facebook, anything. If Indian doctors and nurses are removed from the health services of UK and USA and many of the Middle East countries, their health services will come to a stand. So I would tell all the Indians, be proud of the country where you are, be very important citizens, but don't forget your motherland. Don't forget your parents, your mother and father, your sister. Don't forget your village. And if you can contribute something for the upliftment of the poor, right, in a whatever humble way you can, I think that will give you more satisfaction than a 5-star bungalow or a 7-star car or limousine that you may use. You see, in giving is the greatest joy. And for making your children, the joint family, the value system of which was taught in our gurukuls, right? That value system can be learned only in India. And we have specially made tours for people of Indian origin by giving them lectures on Indian history, on Indian philosophy, on Indian religion. I'll give you an example. People say that so many gods in India, right? But we have only one God. And all the others are devtas, and they are mythological figures. They were made to educate people. Like, Ganesh ji is an MBA program. If you look at Ganesh, first thing you see is long nose, market intelligence. Don't do anything. Second thing you see is big ears and small mouth. Listen more, speak less. Then you have the ornamental teeth, which are, hathi ke dant khane ke aur dikhane ke aur. So the actual biting teeth are hidden inside. Have a showroom. Then elephant is the strongest animal in the world, but it's a vegetarian. So you don't have to destroy other people to build your business. There is enough food in the jungle. Then 4 hands, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. You get your work done. Then, have a big stomach. So Save something for the rainy days. Don't overtrade. And then if an insect goes in the trunk of it can destroy it. So don't underestimate your enemy. It may be as small as an ant, you may be big as an elephant. And then 30% of the food grains are eaten away by rodents and pests. That's why there is a rat. You see, but Ganesh, elephant, is the strongest animal in the jungle, but he's not the king. Why? Because to be the king, you not only need strength, you need speed. So the fastest animal in the world is man. So he uses his brain to sit on a horse, sit on a plane, sit on this. So Ganesh is all elephant and half man. I mean, there are a lot of traits about Ganesh. I don't want to waste your time. I'm writing a book on this, and we will, give you, something on this. So. I'll call you back. I'm in a seminar.
Okay.
So, like this Hanuman, like this Durga. So I'm writing a book on mythology with all the, and this can be very interesting. What is pure form? What is the scientific reason of Hinduism? Hinduism is the greatest philosophy in the world. I won't say it's a religion, it's a philosophy. And if you don't know that philosophy, today, Charak, you see, the surgery used to be done with so precision, which even the Western world can't do right now. So much, is there for India to be proud of. When we got our freedom, even a pin was imported. Today, we are the largest manufacturers of two-wheelers in the world. We are one of the largest exporters of cars. We are the exporters of, software. We are the exporters of pharmacy. We are the exporters of so many things. So today, the Indian entrepreneur or the Indian brain, wherever they have gone, they have been on the top. So the reason for the Indian brain is the genes. And the genes are there. The 200 years of British rule and 600 years of Mughal rule, they destroyed our temples, they destroyed our this, but they could not destroy our civilization. They could not destroy the value system which was there in our education, the value system which was there in Gurukuls. And unfortunately, during the British time, that value system was destroyed, and I am glad that the present government is trying to reinstate that system. We have also got the GSA for luxury trains and IRCTC. We have taken, the river cruises. We have luxury river cruises in India. And so I would request, not through me, through anyone else, your friends or whoever you want to, deal with or you're dealing with. I'm just giving my example, is that today a lot of tour operators are focusing on domestic tourism, and we are learning a lot. The Ministry of Tourism has started Dekho Apna Desh, and I must compliment ADG Rupinder Bararji, who initiated this. And now we are getting this translated into various foreign languages. And this will be available on YouTube and all over the world. So my appeal to them is, please, whatever you may do, India is your country. Now, for example, there is some issue going on between Ukraine and this. So Indian Embassy was the first. They said they are registering all the Indian nationals in case, God forbid, anything happens, Indian Embassy will be there. So you must have a second home in your country, right? To fall back upon.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And finally, India is youngest town. We have got young boys and girls, the country with more than 600 million. That is called the age population, less than 24 years of age. Final question, what message, what would you like to tell Indian youth?
Well, I have been a student leader. I have been the youngest president of Delhi University Students' Union. In second year, I became the president. And I have always believed in two things. One is, all those men who became great did so not by a sudden flight. They, when their comrades slept, toiled upwards in the night. There are three secrets of success First is hard work, second is hard work, third is hard work. There is no substitute to hard work. But hard work does not mean a man who's digging from morning till evening, he's also working very hard. You can't work harder than him. But hard work has to be with focus, with strategy and planning. So if you are focused, and you must have an ambition in life. A man without an ambition is like a, 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 a ship without an engine put in the storm. एक wave इधर आती है किधर आती है. So you need to be focused on what you want to do, what you want to achieve in life. Discuss with your parents, discuss with your friends, discuss with your teachers. But once you've decided that this is what you want to achieve, then you have to be completely focused on it. जैसे महाभारत में Arjun was asked, there was a fish going round in a wheel, that can you see the fish going round? He said, no, I can't. Because his focus was only on the eye of the fish. That is how sharp your focus in life has to be. And if you are focused, then there is no power on earth that can defeat you. And you have to be proud of your heritage. As I mentioned, India is the greatest show on this planet. You have to be proud of your culture. We have the strongest culture in the world. You have to be proud of your family bonds. They are very, very important. And, whatever you want to do, you must be passionate about it. जैसे शाहरुख खान कहता है कि सारी दुनिया की कायनात उसको, so unless you are passionate about what you want to do, you will not be successful. But remember that you will not succeed the first time. You may not succeed the second time. You may not succeed the third time, but never give up. Because remember, failures are the pillars of success. The man who invented electricity failed hundreds and thousands of times, but he didn't give up. Can you imagine a world without electricity? You can't. So one should never, second thing I want to tell you is, that you must always be focused. But if the circumstances are bad, then don't be disheartened. Do we have time? I can tell a small story.
Please take your time. This is your time. America has just woken up. Canada has just risen. And same thing goes for Latin America. And people are waiting for their evening tea and coffee in Europe. Please go ahead.
So once there was a man whose ambition was to become the chief priest. So he used to clean the church every day, this, that, and all. And finally, when the chief priest retired, his chance was there. So he was very keen, to become the chief priest. But the team came from Vatican, and when they interviewed him, they did not select him. They selected someone else who was an MBA. So he was crying. I was sitting on the church and he was feeling so dejected. Then suddenly one woman came and he says, look, today is Sunday and there is no, I don't know, for miles, there is no shop where I can buy some bread and eggs. So he also realized that the nearest shop is about 5 miles away. So he got an idea. So he took a small cart and he started selling eggs, all these daily needs which women need, cornflakes, this, that, and all. And slowly it became very popular, and he made one shop and another shop. Then he started franchising. And all over America, he had hundreds of shops, and he became a multi-billionaire. So when the television people came and asked him, he says, whatever, I don't remember the name, Mr. Smith, just imagine, without being educated, you have become a multi-billionaire. Just imagine if you had done MBA, what would you do? He said, I would be the chief priest. So
that is there.
So in life, opportunities come and challenges come, just like this COVID has come as a challenge. So we have to take it as an opportunity. We have to increase our skills and we have to think out of the box of what all we can do in order to increase our income. And my advice is always have two incomes. Have one wife, but two incomes. Not one income with two wives, because that will be a disaster. Like you said, behind the success of every man, there's a woman, and behind the failure of every man, there's more than one. So if you, the youth, and be very confident of yourself. Like Swami Vivekananda said, muscles of iron and nerves of steel, and gigantic wills, which no one can shake you. Marde Khuda. वो चीज होनी चाहिए. So once you have that, I think there is no power on earth which can defeat you. And be proud to be an Indian, because Indian species is the most intelligent species on planet Earth.
Wow,
There is
that's
no
great.
other species. No, I mean it.
Yes,
I can
yes.
give you statistics. I don't have it in front of me, but top persons, whether it's Pepsi Cola, whether it's Intel, whether it is Facebook, whether it is,
Google,
Metro System, Google, you name it.
Airbnb.
All Indian brains are there. So remember one thing, that God has given you the most wonderful brain on planet Earth and the most fertile women in the world. So keep increasing your population and keep conquering the world.
Yes, that something is very important, because the last Cut the Clutter of Shekhar Gupta ji, he has made a mention that the curve now has reached the optimum and it will start going down. India also got to realize, because China, sometime back when they told their families not to have more than one kid, now they are crying, but you cannot compel somebody to produce kids. Well, that's a lighter side and a very humorous side.
No, I'm serious about it. I want Indian brains. You see, we have to cultivate Indian brains, because it is scientifically proven that they are the best brains in the world. So the more Indian brains we have, the better. And Indians are peace loving. For last thousands of years, we have never invaded any country and occupied their territory. Right? We are the most peaceful people in the world. Right? We wherever we are, we will never fight or do anything. So we want Indian brains to be there, so that we are able to provide this planet and bring more peace, prosperity, happiness through yoga, through meditation, and through the finer things in life, rather through hatred, war, disease, hunger, and starvation.
Wow, that's great. Amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, world over, all my brothers and sisters, what a wonderful, legendary talk coming from the icon of Indian tourism, the legend of Indian tourism, the father of Indian tourism, Dr. Subhash Goyal ji. I'm pretty sure that all of us, we have got so motivated, inspired, enthusiastic. Let's take a trip, pick up your bags. And we got to initially start domestic tourism and thereafter inbound tourism. I'm not very keen about outbound tourism. I'm interested about inbound tourism.
No, my suggestion is that, if anyone has any questions on anything about India, not just tourism, about aviation, about history, about geography, culture, philosophy, religion, you can send your emails to the Indian International Chamber, or you can send on sg@sticgroup.com, which is my email ID. SG is for Subhash Goyal, SG at STIC is stickgroup.com. It's very simple. So I'm always there for any answers, and any questions that you get on YouTube, I'll be happy if you forward them to me, and we will respond to each and every question.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you very much. It's indeed a great, great pleasure. So, ladies and gentlemen, world over, green morning, green afternoon, green evening. Keep smiling, keep enjoying, be happy, take care of your health, take care of your wellness, and always, always, always our Indians, wherever you are, है प्रीत जहां की रीत सदा, मैं गीत वहां के गाता हूं, भारत का रहने वाला हूं, भारत की बात सुनाता हूं. With these words, thank you very much.
हमें जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा.
Hindustan hamara. Wonderful. Thank you, sir. And with these words, our great gratitudes and thanks to